Master and pray for the well-being of the whole humanity. Hari Om Tat Sat. Om Stavakaya Dharmasya Sarvadharmaswarupine Stavakaya Dharmasya Sarvadharmaswarupine Avatara Varishtaya Ramakrishna Te Namaha. Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma mritangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let us bow down to Sri Ramakrishna, the embodiment of all religions, the Supreme God incarnate. Let us pray to Him to lead us from the unreal to the real, to lead us from the darkness of ignorance to the light of knowledge, to lead us from death to immortality. We have been discussing some of the topics taken from the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. In the last class, I had discussed about the topic as one thinks, so one reaps. It's a very important subject, and it is very significant from the point of view of spiritual life. That means how it is very important to handle the most important equipment God has given to us, that is the mind. So the success of your life depends on handling of your mind. That means mind continuously breathes in and breathes out thoughts. So, how are the thoughts organized in your mind? Accordingly, your life proceeds. So it is necessary that you should know what is what. And it is necessary you should struggle to change the course of action if need be. There is no point in simply following whatever way the mind acts upon. Then there is no scope for improving at all. There is no scope for changing your life pattern at all if you don't struggle to correct yourself. That means you must take necessary steps to organize the thoughts in the mind. Generally, we are very careless and callous about what we think. We just keep on thinking all sorts of things in the mind. Sometimes we consciously be aware of those thoughts, sometimes They come and force you to become attentive on them. So the thoughts play a crucial role in everyone's life. That one should know. So what I mean to say, don't condemn yourself. I am hopeless. I am full of impurities. I am not fit for spiritual life. This kind of complaint must be stopped forthwith. You are never to be condemned at all, because your essential nature is remarkably divine. That's what Vedanta says. That's what Upanishad declares. That's what Swami Vivekananda gave at the Parliament of Religions. Each soul is potentially divine. Because you are not giving thoughts in that direction, because you have allowed the mind to think in different ways. You have filled up the mind with all sorts of ideas. So you have almost forgotten your true divine nature. So you are suffering and suffering. In spite of coming back and forth number of times on this earth planet, you will be the same person if you don't struggle yourself towards higher life, to know your true nature. It's a great blessing if a person becomes aware of this fact. Well, how many lives I have wasted in engaging in all sorts of things which are not at all useful. And I should really concentrate and realize, experience my true nature. The moment that thinking comes, that is the beginning of your spiritual life. Till then, you have not started your spiritual life at all. And as long as you are living in this world as you have been living, there is no way of getting into real joy. Mind will be always in some kind of depression. There will be always some fluctuations in the mind. This moment you seem to be happy, next moment you are totally opposite. There is a Sanskrit statement which says, Svabhavastu pravartate. One acts according to one's own nature. That is, one's own nature of the mind. So, mind is the important equipment each one has been endowed with. If you don't handle the mind properly, then you are in great trouble. So, it is the desires that change themselves into the mode of thoughts, and those thoughts keep coming again and again, and you are not satisfied till you fulfill your desires. So, why don't you entertain good desires, desires which are helpful to take you towards God. And if you are sincere and earnest, these good thoughts become gradually powerful and strong, and then you are safe. Then you will be able to practice spirituality in your daily life. Sri Ramakrishna, take the example. From the beginning of his life, he entertained the idea, I must realize God in this very life. I don't want anything else. So, that thought was very prominent in him, and that thought provoked him to undertake spiritual disciplines. And because of that, finally, he got the vision of the Divine Mother of the universe. Same way, if you take the life of Swami Vivekananda, the foremost disciple of Sri Ramakrishna, the foremost thought in his mind was, can I see God? Is there God? Can I see? That was occupying his mind all the time, though he was studying in the college. But his mind was towards spirituality. And he began to meet all types of people known in those days. And he would go and meet them and find out whether they had realized God, whether they could answer his question, whether God could be seen. Because he was so earnest in his thinking, that powerful thought finally led him towards Sri Ramakrishna at Dakshineshwar temple in Calcutta. And when he asked her that question, Sri Ramakrishna answered, yes, I have seen God. God is there. I have seen God. You can see Him. You can also see Him. That was a great inspiration and awakening to Swami Vivekananda, who later on became a very great monk and who spread the message of Vedanta in America. So what I am telling is, mind. Handle the mind properly. That means handle the thoughts properly. Organizing the thoughts and focusing on the important thought is important, is necessary. Sri Ramakrishna says, the mind, it is compared to a white cloth. It takes the color you dye it with. Suppose you dip it in red dye, it will be red. Suppose you dip it in green dye, it becomes green, and so on. So, we should know in this topic, as one thinks, so one reaps, there are 4 laws of mind which we should know. The first law of the mind is that the mind takes the nature of the thoughts it holds. That we have discussed in the last class. The second law of the mind is that we see the world as our mind is set. That's a very important statement. It's a law. That means mind plays a crucial role in your life. And Shankaracharya has explained this point, how the stump of a tree, as seen in twilight, was interpreted by many people in many ways. A child who has just heard ghost stories thinks that stump of a tree is a ghost. In the twilight, it appeared like that to the child. So a young man whose mind was set in loving a girl, he used to see probably she has come there to meet him. In this way, people think according to the mindset. That also we have discussed in the last class. The third law also we have discussed. It is that minds act on each other. What I think affects you, and what you think affects me. Well, the fourth law of the mind, which I am trying to explain to you today, is also important to know. These four laws of the mind are there. Know them, act properly. That's what I mean. The fourth law is that the mind can obtain knowledge beyond the senses and beyond reason. It has got that immense power. How it is done? It is done through the power of imagination. Imagination, properly employed, is our greatest friend. It goes beyond reason and is the only light that takes us anywhere. The power of imagination is evoked through analogies and symbols. In the words of Swami Vivekananda, it is easy for men to think that they can understand anything, but when it comes to practical experience, they find that abstract ideas are often very hard to comprehend. Therefore, the symbols are of great help, and we can't dispense with the symbolical method of putting things before us. In Swami Vivekananda's words, everything in the universe may be looked upon as a symbol. The whole universe is a symbol, and God is the essence behind. Artists and scientists also have known the importance of imagination, the importance of analogies, and the importance of symbols. For it is a leap of the imagination that is at the heart of creativity. The famous artist Michelangelo said that he could imagine the finished sculpture in a block of a stone. Holding fast to that vision, he would then remove what obstructed its view. Mahatma Gandhiji suggested that the human being itself can be a work of art. Holding fast to a high ideal, the human personality can be chiseled into the image of that ideal. In this, he was echoing the teaching of Buddha. Fletchers make the arrow straight. Carpenters carve the wood. Wise people fashion themselves, holding on to the vision of a high ideal. How does one get that vision? According to the famous scientist Einstein, it is based on deep reflection. He would think long and hard about a problem, and when he could no more proceed on that, he would play his violin for a while and wait for inspiration. Thus, inspiration is preceded by a period of intense concentration. Swami Vivekananda says, the world is ready to give up its secrets if we only know how to knock, how to give it the necessary blow. The strength and force of the blow come through the power of concentration. There is no limit to the power of the human mind. The more concentrated it is, the more power is brought to bear on one point. That is the secret. Concentration comes through several sources. Some get it when they hear beautiful music, others when they see beautiful scenery. But the heart of the matter is that concentration comes through love. We fix our mind on that which we love. And we love that which we continually fix our mind on. Concentration is preceded by a gathering of facts. Thus, the three-step process of knowledge is the gathering of facts, reasoning and concentrating on them, and then transcending them. This method can be used to gain knowledge about anything. But for the Vedantist, the ultimate goal of the science of Raja Yoga is to discover the divinity which is the real nature of the human being. For this purpose, teachers have given some useful images to meditate on. The sage Patanjali says, the mind is like a lake in which thoughts arise as bubbles on the surface of our awareness. If we can keep the lake calm and clear, we will discover that which lies beyond mind. Other sages they have likened the mind to the sky and thoughts to clouds. Good thoughts are like light clouds and evil thoughts are like dark clouds. The light which is beyond, whether we call it God or pure consciousness, streams through the mental clouds and gives the proverbial silver lining. Those who are seeking will find encouragement in the words of Sri Sharda Devi, the Holy Mother. In a simple but powerful way, she said, as one gets the fragrance of a flower by handling it, so does one get spiritual awakening by constantly thinking of God. Those who try will find unexpected help. Sri Ramakrishna said that when we unfurl the sail of our mind, we will see that the breeze of divine grace is always blowing. But Raj Yoga does not insist that we begin with a concept of God. In Swami Vivekananda's view, the goal of all its teaching is how to concentrate the mind, then how to discover the innermost recesses of our own minds, then how to generalize their contents and form our own conclusions from them. It therefore never asks the question what our religion is, whether we are deists or atheists, whether Christian, Jews or Buddhists, we are human beings. That is sufficient. Every human being has a right and a power to seek for religion. Every human being has a right to ask the reason and to have his question answered by himself, if he only takes the trouble. This is the power of thought. So, how much we have to be careful in the process of thinking. What you think whole day, that determines your character, that determines your way, that determines your goal. So, if you think constantly about God, then everything is set accordingly, and then you'll be able to enjoy immense peace and bliss, and you will get fulfillment because you get real success in life, since you have come to know your own true nature, and for that mind is responsible. Through the mind only you will have to go. If the mind is not kept properly, then you can never get into that state of peace and joy. So let us be very careful about thinking things and about organizing the thoughts, about focusing on the primary thought which you want to achieve. If you give attention to all these factors, then you get success. You get what you want. That's the meaning of saying, as one thinks, so one becomes. If you always think you are wretched, you are sinful, you are hopeless and terribly bad, constantly thinking in that negative way, you behave in that fashion. It's just like dipping the cloth, white cloth, on a black color, dyeing, it becomes black. So you are spoiling your mind yourself, and clearing the mind also lies in you. So how it is very important to know these things and act in a wise way. That concludes my topic which I started in the last class, as one thinks, so one becomes. Page 626, Master, page number 627. Live in the world, but in order to realize God, hold fast to His lotus feet with one hand, and with the other do your duties. When you get a respite from your duties, cling to God's lotus feet with both hands. Live in solitude and meditate on Him and serve Him ceaselessly. Sub-judge said joyously, "Sir, these are very beautiful words indeed. Of course, one must practice spiritual discipline in solitude, but we forget all about it. We think we have become King Janaka outright. The master and the devotees laugh. I feel very happy and peaceful even to hear that there is no need to give up the world and that God can be realized from home as well. Master said, why should you give up the world? Since you must fight, it is wise for you to fight from a fort. You must fight against your sense organs, against your hunger and thirst. Therefore you will be wise to face the battle from the world. Further, in the Kali Yuga, the life of a man depends on his food. If one day you have nothing to eat, then you will forget all about God. A man once said to his wife, I am going to leave the world. She was a sensible woman. She said, why should you wander about? If you don't have to knock at 10 doors for your stomach's sake, go. But if that is the case, then better live in this one place. Again, I say, why should you give up the world? You will find it more convenient at home. You won't have to worry about food. You may even live with your wife. It is not harmful. You will find near at hand all that the body needs at different times. When you are ill, you will have someone near you to nurse you. Sages like Janaka, Vyasa and Vasishtha lived in the world after attaining knowledge. They fenced with 2 swords, the one of knowledge and the other of action. Subject said, how can we know that we have knowledge? Master said, when one has knowledge, one doesn't see God anymore at a distance. One does not think of Him anymore as He. He becomes this. Then He is seen in one's own heart. God dwells in every man. He who seeks God realizes Him. Subject said, sir, I am a sinner. How can I say that God dwells in me? Master said, that's the one trouble with you Brahmos. With you it is always sin and sin. That's the Christian view, isn't it? Once a man gave me a Bible. A part of it was read to me, and it was full of that one thing, sin and sin. One must have such faith that one can say, I have uttered the name of God, I have repeated the name of Rama or Hari, how can I be a sinner? One must have faith in the glory of God's name. Subject said, sir, how can one have such faith? Master said, have passionate love for God. One of your Brahma songs says, O Lord, is it ever possible to know Thee without love? However much one may perform worship and sacrifice. Pray to God in secret and with yearning that you may have that passionate attachment and devotion to Him. Shed tears for Him. A man sheds a jug full of tears because his wife is sick, or because he is losing money, or because he is worrying about getting a job. But tell me, whoever weeps for God. I shall stop here. Any questions? Do you have any questions to ask? Yeah. No, the point is, it depends upon the state of your mind. If the mind is already in a particular mode, then how can you have experience unless you think about it? You should think about spiritual idea. That means thinking must be done first, then experience will come. Without thinking, how can you have experience? A
child before...
No, that is true.
Before you know.
No, that is true. But that's all right when you are in proximity with the divine. That means when there is no obstruction on your way, then what you say is true. But mind is there. Mind is a stumbling block. It covers the light of God, so that you are not seeing it. Even though God's light is always there, mind is covering it. The mind means the mind which is filled with so many thoughts of so many things. Why those thoughts came, that nobody can answer. But because the mind is standing in front of the light of God, you are able to have that experience even though that light is shining all the time in your heart. That's why one of the spiritual practices, we say you meditate, concentrate upon a mantra or a symbol or whatever it is. By that process, what will happen, those impurities, the covering of the light of God, those covering is removed. They are removed. The coverings are removed by your struggling, by constant practice. Once the coverings are removed, you are that. You feel immense joy. That means when the mind lake is clear, you can see the bottom of the lake. It's just like when the mind is free from all obstructive thoughts, and when it is clear, then you will see the reflection of your own true self in the mind. In the final analysis, as Sri Ramakrishna himself tells in the Gospel, mind itself is Atman. That means you feel that everything is filled up with the Atman, everything is filled up with consciousness. It's not theory, you experience that, and because of the experience, you become immensely happy and peaceful. So, No, the point is, that's what that one question nobody can answer. Why we have been under the influence of delusion. Why we have become. What made us to get into that state? If our true nature is divine, why should we get into that state of delusion at all? Is it not? The question should be, so, delusion with respect to the reality. If you think the world itself is real, then you are thinking unreal to be real. Then where is the question of discrimination there? So what happens is, first of all, you must be able to know, first of all, you must become aware of your delusion. That's the first important step. Until you know you are in delusion, you will not be able to have experience. There are so many types of experiences. The real experience, what I mean to say, the experience of God, that is realizing your true nature is seeing God. That is the meaning. Realizing your true nature is, who am I? I don't know. I always associate with my mind and keep telling my body, my mind, keep on telling that. But who is that I? So you have to probe that. In order to probe that, you have to practice, you have to struggle and you have to see. So in order to do that, you have to catch hold of the mind itself. In order to do that, you have to initiate some thoughts into that. And you must remove all the obstructing thoughts from the mind. And then, because one set of experience which you are gathering in the world may also lead you towards right type of discrimination. Right type of discrimination is important. That is the way of becoming wise. Right type of discrimination.
R-I-G-H-T, right?
Correct? Yeah. Right type, R-I-G-H-T, yeah. Yeah, correct. Right type of discrimination. So that is very important. And that is possible only when you come in contact with holy people and with people who are living the spiritual life. And then you will slowly understand, by coming in contact with them, how exactly you should initiate reasoning in your life. Reasoning also is a very important step, but if you don't know how to reason properly, you may reason wrongly. And instead of going to the heaven, you may go to hell. So,
I mean, I agree.
Yeah.
Chicken chip
Uh-huh.
and their dogs.
Yeah.
But as you move that,
Yeah.
and
No, that is true. When you come to spiritual field, we are all children only. Though we are grown up in age, but from the spiritual point of view, we are still babies because we are not able to understand even the simple moral foundation, which is very essential for spiritual life.
Very frustrating too, isn't it?
Yeah. So all these things, that's very important. Then only you'll be able to get into the mysteries of the mind. Till then, you won't be able to understand anything of spirituality. But you must know what are the things that are, in spite of my reading so many books, in spite of my intellectual understanding, still I am not happy, I am not peaceful. So that should keep you thinking in a proper way. Yes, it is because I am only responsible for that, because when I'm thinking, no doubt, but I am not applying what I am thinking. What you think, you must apply. Yeah, but sometimes. Yeah. That instincts also you have to. That's what if a man's nature is not very good, he should first of all he should understand his nature is bad. Then there is a way to improve his nature, and then he should struggle. That's the way. In fact, Sri Ramakrishna had a disciple. His name is Girish Chandra Ghosh. He had committed all sorts of crimes, and he said, I have committed Himalayan blunders, and there is nobody in this universe who has committed more mistakes than myself. That's what he tells. and then is there God to help me? See, it was a real cry. He was really asking for that. He was really knocking the door. Well, I'm in such a hopeless condition. People are isolating me, and people are getting away from me, and I'm losing my friends. And what is this happening to me? Though he was a famous dramatist of that time, he was hopeless. He was miserable in the life, terribly miserable. And he goes to Shiva temple in Tarkeshwar near Calcutta, and he prays before God. And I have heard so many things about your glory, etc. But I am facing real problem and difficulties in my life. If you are still there, if God is there, can I seek your help? And he prays very earnestly, and his prayer was answered, as it were. He came in contact with Sri Ramakrishna, and how Sri Ramakrishna slowly trained him, and literally he cleansed his mind. Literally. That's the point. So one has to struggle, and one has to reach the goal. But whatever it is, don't condemn, realize your mistake and correct it. That's the glory. Yes, I have done this mistake. Let me correct. Yes, it's true, I have committed a sin. Let me not commit again. Finished. Whatever it is. Yeah, that is a sincere confession. One must be honest and sincere. That is proved in your dealings next. Again, if you repeat the same thing and again and again, if you go and simply confess, it's only theory, not in practice. Theory and practice should go together. Means once you confess, you should not repeat again. Then you become qualified to receive God's forgiveness. God forgives you. Undoubtedly, He forgives, provided you are sincere in your confession. Well, oh Lord, I have done this, please forgive me. Good, I'll forgive you. Don't repeat again, that's all. But in spite of that, if you repeat two or thrice, because of the momentum of the bad forces hitherto you had accumulated in the mind, because of the momentum you might have committed again and again. But still, that should not weaken your devotion to God. God is not responsible for that, because you are in that state because of your own actions, and God is ready to help you provided your mind occupies His thoughts. So what you should do, under all circumstances, wherever you are, think of Him and pray to Him honestly, and pray to Him to give strength. That's the way. That's a positive way of approaching God. And Finally you will come to know that because God is in your own heart, it is very easy. It should be very easy for you to pray to Him. You don't have to pray to God you don't have to go hundreds of miles away to reach, to go and pray. It is in your own heart. Heart is your chamber. Heart is your temple. Yeah.
Forgive
Yeah.
one more time.
Yeah. Yeah. Struggling must be there. You have to struggle. When you keep struggling, then help will come.
Why?
Well, the child is falling again and again. Let me help. The mother goes and helps a little bit. Like that. So life will teach you. Life is a great teacher. Yeah, we shall conclude. Oh. Chant the name of the Lord and His glory unceasingly, that the mirror of the heart may be wiped clean and quench that mighty forest fire, worldly lust raging furiously within. O name streamed down in moonlight on the lotus heart, opening its cup to knowledge of thyself. O self, drowned deep in the waves of His bliss, tasting His nectar at every step, bathing in His name, that bath for weary souls. Various are thy names, O Lord, in each and every name thy power resides. No times are set, no rites are needful for chanting of thy name. So vast is thy mercy, how huge then is my wretchedness, who find in this empty life and heart no devotion to thy name. O my mind, be humbler than a blade of grass. Be patient and forbearing like a tree. Take no honor to thyself, give honor to all. Chant unceasingly the name of the Lord. O Lord and soul of the universe, mine is no prayer for wealth or revenue, the playthings of lust or the toys of fame. As many times as I may be reborn, grant me, O Lord, a steadfast love for thee. A drowning man in this world's pureful ocean is thy servant, O sweet one. In thy mercy consider him as dust beneath thy feet. Oh, how I long for the day when an instant's separation from thee, O Lord, will be as 1,000 years, when my heart burns away with its desire, and the world without thee is a heartless void. Prostrate at thy feet let me be, in unwavering devotion, neither imploring the embrace of thine arms, nor bewailing the withdrawal of thy presence, though it tears my soul asunder. O thou who stillest the hearts of thy devotees, do with me what thou wilt, for thou art my heart's beloved, thou and thou alone. O Lord, lead us from the unreal to the real, lead us from the darkness to light, and lead us from death to immortality. May all be free from dangers, may all realize what is good, may all be actuated by noble thoughts, may all rejoice everywhere. May all be happy, may all be free from disease, may all realize what is good, may none be subject to misery. May the wicked become virtuous, may the virtuous attain tranquility, may the tranquil be free from bonds, may the freed make others free. May good betide all people, may the sovereign righteously rule the earth, may all beings ever attain what is good, may the worlds be prosperous and happy. May the clouds pour rain in time, may the earth be blessed with crops, may all countries be free from calamity, may holy man live without fear. May the Lord, the destroyer of sins, the presiding deity of all sacred works be satisfied. For he being pleased, the whole universe becomes pleased. He being satisfied, the whole universe feels satisfied.